going to college was a given for me. So I think the decision was made as a young girl, a little girl, 4 or 5 years old. My mom was an educator, and so I would play school, play teacher, and it was just a given for me at a really young age that I would attend college to enhance my ability to not just achieve in life, but to give back. That was instilled in me as a young child.
I can't point to a particular moment in my life when I decided that going to college was the right thing for me. I'm the first generation American son of a single immigrant mother, and education was important, but we just didn't talk much about it as a kid. The first to finish high school, but throughout my early educational period, I just felt that going to college was the next logical step for me. It wasn't really a question of whether I was going to. It was really when and where. So it was always in my future as a kid. I don't know how it got there, but it was planted there, and it could have been planted by my mother in a subconscious kind of way.
Truthfully, I didn't decide to go to college initially. My mother decided that I was going to college. It wasn't even a given. It wasn't something that I had to think about and make a decision about. After high school, there was college, and so I never really had to sit back and think, do I want to go to school later or not? I was going, regardless.
So I think the first time I decided to even think about going to college is when I got recruited to play football. That was like the eye-opening experience for me, is going and visit these schools and looking at all the schools that actually wanted to have me to go and be the first one in my family. So that was the first time I ever decided to go, or at least think about college. And once I got there and being a part of an institution like the University of Massachusetts, where I went, it was an eye-opening experience.
I went to college because I wanted to be an NFL player. Once I got to college, I realized that was a dream that wasn't going to happen. So I decided to take the college path. I realized then that education was going to be my outlet and give me the opportunities that I wanted to have in life. So I decided to go to Cheney University, which is the first historically black university that was started in 1837, HBCU. Love it.
Woof. I expected a little more social life when I first got to school that I didn't get involved in. So I became a bookworm and did my work. I expected that I would do a lot more social things, but I didn't. I found that going to class and interacting with students on the basis of what our academic lessons were about was really, it was social, but it wasn't the kind of social I thought. I didn't go to parties and things like that you hear about all the time. So that's what I expected.
I really didn't have any expectations. I think the main thing for me was to see where I can fit in. College is basically a big environment of people that's your age, talk like you, walk like you, different shades, different races, different ethnicities. And I just wanted to fit in. I guess there was really no expectation, especially coming from Syracuse, and dealing with things that we had here, which is poverty and violence and crime and stuff like that. I just wanted to get away from here and actually better my life.
I had an expectation that I was going to be successful, that I would meet other young people or other students from all over the country. I think that's what I was excited about, that had the same goal as I did, as going to school, getting our education, our higher education, and then making a difference wherever we landed after college.
So, before I arrived at college, I had this image of a lot of fun, meeting a lot of people, and all the different visions of a college campus life, and none of them included studying. It didn't take very long for me to realize that college life was certainly much more than the friends you meet and the fun you have and the plans for those times when you're not in class. So that was my image, and the shocking reality hit me very quick when I began to review my grades and my reports and the feedback I was getting. So I had to learn how to balance that. So it was still important to meet people, and particularly people who did not grow up where and how I grew up. That was fascinating for me, but I had to balance that interest with succeeding academically.
With it being at HBCU, I know there'd be a lot of people there that looked like me, that thought like me, that felt the same thing that I was feeling. Cheyney gave me the love and the support that I needed. Cheyney also exposed me to some wonderful opportunities. I studied hotel, restaurant, institutional management while I was there. I joined my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which was founded in 1906 at Cornell University. I also met some of my best friends that till this day that we stay in contact with each other every day. My professors made a major impact on me. They gave me opportunities. They gave me internships. They helped me develop who I am today.
The most impactful thing that happened to me at college was really learning and understanding who I was as a person. Because I was around and befriended so many students, college students, young people from, again, all over the country that looked like me, that had ambitions like I did, I learned more about who I was as a person and what I really wanted to do to make change in whatever community I landed in. And I happened to return to my own home community. So that was the most impactful thing, is meeting other young people, meeting other students, and just growing with them and growing within myself so that I could truly make a difference.
It would have to be joining a Greek letter organization, and not even so much because of my college years, but post-college. The relationships that I've developed, the ability to go places, not know anyone, but have sisters someplace, that was huge. That really made a difference for me while I was at school and definitely beyond. The other most impactful thing that happened to me was I spent a study abroad. So going to another country for someone who had never flown in a plane before, and experiencing a culture totally different from that which I was normally used to, really changed how I thought about the world. I really had the opportunity to see that there's so much more to life in the world than New York. I mean, I'm from New York City, but I was in school in New York State, and there was a whole world out there that I could explore. So while I was there, I went to every country I could get to on a student income. So between those two things, those were the most impactful.
Well, it was a lot of things, but it was the people that I met at the college that changed me forever. From professors to football teammates to hallmates to my fraternity brother. The things that we learned together was incredible. If one of us had a dime, we all had a dime. One of us had a dollar, we all had a dollar. Cheyney shaped me in ways that I didn't realize until I got older. My survival mechanisms was so on point because of the college. The biggest thing that impacted me was when I was playing football, prior to getting to college, I wasn't that well academically. So one day after football practice, the coach decided to name off all the kids who had to go back and do mandatory study. He was reading off the names, and at the end of it, I went up to my coach and I said, "Hey, coach, you didn't say my name." He said, "Black, you don't need any academic support. Actually, I want you to start tutoring some of your classmates and some of your teammates." That was a great feeling, and from that point on, I realized I could be a student athlete.
I think the most impactful thing for me from my college experience was the number of people that I met that were different from me. I grew up in the projects of East Los Angeles, and everyone in my community looked like me, and we spoke Spanish. and we spoke some English, and we did things. So I met people who came from middle class and upper middle class backgrounds in parts of California, which is where I'm from, that don't resemble Los Angeles. And meeting them and discovering how they grew up and their interests and finding common interests was really, really exciting for me. So I enjoyed venturing out and becoming familiar and making friends with some of those individuals. So that was pretty impactful, and I won't forget it because I think I grew significantly after that experience.
I think the day I graduated was the most impactful thing that happened to me. I knew my mother, who had me at the early age of 16, going on 17. She had nothing. She gave up school and her dream of being a nurse for me. And when I graduated, I thought about what I can do to basically thank my mother for giving up her dreams and giving me a platform for my dreams. So I made her put on my cap and gown and walk with the rest of the students and have that moment for her, because I just didn't graduate, she did too. She graduated with me, so I wanted her to graduate for me, and in a sense of having that joy of actually putting on the cap and gown and actually standing up for something.
I think the greatest life lesson that I learned at college was that you have to truly apply yourself. You really don't have anyone else telling you to wake up, get up, go to class, turn this paper in at this time. You really grow into yourself. And for me, that's where I truly became a woman, is in college, was because I had a responsibility and a commitment to make to say that I'm going to do this. And no one was on my back telling me to get up, to get to class. I had to make a decision to do it. And so that was the greatest life lesson for me.
The greatest life lesson I learned at college was probably not to quit. That it didn't matter how hard I thought an exam was going to be, how difficult the reading was, how much I felt like I was failing in a particular class or on an exam, that I needed to keep going. I needed to keep trying and get back to a place where I felt comfortable and capable of what I was doing, but most importantly, just not to ever quit, to keep going. That mistakes happen and lessons that you learn become incredibly beneficial for the rest of your life.
Oh, it's so much. So I learned how to live with others. Many of us had different financial backgrounds we were coming from. I was from Syracuse, New York. Some were from Philadelphia. Others were from the different boroughs in New York City. People from Pittsburgh, PA, all over. I got to learn to live and love with other people. The people on my floor, we developed this great clique that we understood that academics was number one. So I remember nights where instead of going to the party, we had to finish doing our homework. Then after we finished our homework, then we got to party. But we realized the steps, what was important. Another life lesson I learned from college was the people around you determine how far you're going to go. If you hang with knuckleheads, you become a knucklehead. And because of college, I learned to build a real good bond with some incredible people, and therefore, it helped me to graduate from Cheney.
I think the greatest life lesson I learned at college was that this is the first time in my life that I was truly accountable for my work. The effort I put into academics resulted in scores and measures and results that I wasn't always happy with. So there wasn't anybody to clean up my mess for me. So I had to contend with the studies. I had to contend with all of the different aspects of being an adult because I wasn't home. So I had to balance all of that. And the growth that emerged from that was pretty special. I grew quite a bit out of it, learning how to take care of myself, learning that if I don't study well, it's going to reflect. And I think the greatest impact all of that had for me was that when I didn't do well in school, that was my reputation. And that was a representation to some of who I was. And I decided that that wasn't something I was comfortable with. So in order to preserve my reputation and people's perceptions of me, it didn't take long for me to improve my grades, take studying more seriously, and really take the benefits of college that were there for me that I hadn't quite matured into.
I think nothing is given. You gotta earn everything you put your mind to it. You gotta earn it. I mean, being in school, you can't take any shortcuts. You can't do the easy thing. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to be days that you don't want to go. It's always going to be days that you're just going to look outside and say, hey, it's raining. I should skip that class or try to do the easy way out by looking over someone's shoulder and doing their work. But there's no easy route. You just gotta put your mind to it and actually just go and do the work. Because at the end of the day, all that is going to culminate into something that's going to be bigger than just school. You're going to be able to take that schooling and actually apply that to life lessons and your job and your family and everything else, and your children as well. So I think that's the greatest life lesson. Greatest lesson I had in college was there's nothing given to you. You got to earn everything.
College changed my trajectory simply because it made things available for me that probably would not have been there for me in the absence of a college education. I grew up in a tough place, and a large portion of my peers ended up in places that I would rather not have been. So entering college, being accepted, completing my college degree, opened up doors, pathways for me that I was able to take later that certainly would not have been there for me if I had terminated at high school or didn't finish high school. So college is primarily important. The amount of opportunity that emerges after somebody completes college it's exponential. It's large, and you'll find a pathway for you in whatever interests you if you choose to complete a college education.
I mean, I know this is cliche, but I think if I didn't go to school, I don't know where I'd be. You know, I was dealing with friends that didn't want anything in life. They were always trying to get the easy way out. I had some friends that actually got incarcerated and went to prison for a long time for doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing. I also had friends that that are no longer here, and I think that if I would have not went to college, I probably would have been caught up in things that weren't legal and got myself into situations where I couldn't get myself out of. And I think that college, that wasn't, I guess, the main reason why I'm successful, or the way, if you measure success into graduating and getting a good job, I guess. I think the main reason why that happened was because I left that alone here in Syracuse and actually took a leap of faith and went somewhere else and extended my education somewhere and further my education. So I think that definitely changed the trajectory of my life.
I knew college was an option. I knew I could do it, but how was I going to do it? But I realized the support around me helped me tremendously. The professors, from the hall directors to people in the dining hall, it helped me to know to build relationship with everybody. Because at some point, I'm going to need them. Mom and Dad are in Syracuse, New York, 3.5, 4 hours away. So I developed relationships with people there. They became my mom and dad away from home. So when I'm working here as the director of the Upward Bound program, I've taught the same skill to my students. Get to know the people that are going to help you. Love them as your own and watch them grow. That's the biggest payday ever.
The biggest thing college did, I went to Syracuse University, so the biggest thing college did was give me a new home. I did not return to New York City. I discovered that there was a different way of living that didn't involve subways and millions of people all the time. And I decided to make upstate New York my home. which I would not have done. I have no idea what would have happened had I returned to New York, where all my friends were who did not go to college. So I think it probably grounded me and set me on a path for success.
College made a huge impact on my life. College has the ability to change the trajectory of all of our lives, because what it does is it actually makes a generational impact. So when I made a decision to go on to college to complete my degree, I set up a standard for my children and for generations to come, because I said I am going to engage in obtaining my degree and moving forward in life through higher education, which is so important for young people from every community, especially from communities like ours, to know that it will change the trajectory of your life for generations to come. Wow, that's a great question. The number one thing a student should know about college is that it's not just about enhancing your intellect or your intelligence. It literally transforms your character, and it helps to build your character, and so that you can make an impact in the world, whatever that impact will be. So just know that when you go to college, set high expectations for yourself. And so make a commitment to yourself before you step foot on that campus, that no matter what you do, that you are destined to make a difference, and that you are committing to make that difference. And the first commitment begins with you.
Well, first, I think a student should know they could do it. Like, it doesn't matter what their grades were in high school, how much they struggled in middle school, that college is something they can do. That there's no such thing as a student who is incapable of going to college and succeeding, that college provides you with a fresh start, a chance to begin again, and to get things done in such a way that you could progress on to whatever your life's goals and dreams and desires are.
You have to go. That piece of paper is going to change you forever. Remember, you might not work in your degree, but that piece of paper puts you in a different category. You have a 4-year degree. You know how to survive. You lived on campus, or you commuted. You are successful because you have completed that portion of your life. So please, go to school. It's the best opportunity for you, and later on, you'll be thanking me.
I think the most important thing a student who is thinking about college should know and think about is that it's not easy. If college were easy, everyone would have a college degree. It's tough. You're going to be challenged. You're going to face adversity. You're going to face things that are difficult to overcome by yourself and without some effort. My suggestion when you find those challenges is to find somebody that you trust, that knows maybe a little bit more than you in the subject area, teachers, counselors, because oftentimes we can succeed on our own, but it's just so much easier if you find somebody that is willing to help you, and you find the fortitude to seek out the help. So that's my recommendation. Don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. It's not all fun, but the benefits of completing college, they're massive, and don't overlook the opportunity.
I guess I'm gonna steal some things from the Nike commercial from Colin Kaepernick. I really can't look and say it at the same time, but I want to say that, don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough. And they're only crazy until you do it. So just do it. Go to college. It definitely will change your life.